Hello again, MMA True Believers. I am Jason BURGOS for Sherdog.com, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with my favorite kind of person, and that is a fellow New Yorker. However, he's not your normal New Yorker. He's one of the fastest rising stars in all of Bellator, and a man right on the precipice of a championship opportunity at bantamweight, and that is the unbeaten man known as Patchi, a.k.a. Patrick Mix. Patrick, thanks for the time today to talk the latest in life and your career.
How you doing, man? It's good to talk.
Now, I have a whole bunch of questions. So tell me what the story has been for you the last few months, and with Bellator pretty much being on pause. I know you train at Jackson Wink. Have you been out in New Mexico kind of trying to stay busy out there? Have you been home? Have you been in New York, getting through the last few months with your family? What's your situation? Yeah.
Basically, man, the last 5-6 months been crazy, obviously, with the whole world, this pandemic that's been going on. So my main focus was just to stay close to my family right now, make sure I don't leave, make sure I don't travel, just in case. I didn't want to get sick, of course. And now that things are dying out, I've been getting back in the gyms locally, working out on my own, getting my own coaches back together. And we took a few months off, just to kind of recoup, because we fought December on New Year's anyways,
Mm-hmm.
So to come back, it was good to have, a little bit of time off. And with the pandemic, that allowed me, to get, my body fully recovered, just to focus on my family, some things outside of fighting. And it was actually a good time off for us.
Do you have any relatives or like, friends that, were touched by this thing, knowing that you're from New York? I'm in New York City. This is the epicenter of it all here in the U.S. Did you have any people that like, oh man, they got it, they didn't make it, they recovered?
No, not personally. I don't know them, but through distant people, I know some people that were actually affected, but no one that I knew personally that got COVID-19.
All right, lucky you. Now, you announced earlier this year that you signed a new contract with Bellator. Talk to me about that. Was that a big jump up in pay for you? Do you now feel like you are getting paid like one of the top 135ers on the roster?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm happy with my contract. Ali, man, he's my manager. He does great work for me. So right after my fight in October, I hit that smooth stretch, man. A few weeks later, they called me, gave me an opportunity to have a fast turnaround in Japan. And, I was really, really happy with my pay there. And going forward, I'm really happy. You know what I mean? Not to say I was never unhappy with Bellator either. I was always very, very happy with Bellator. It's just where I climbed the ranks so fast that, now I'm happy to be where I'm at.
Because of the new deal, has, this hiatus from fighting been that much more frustrating that you can't make those nice new paydays yet? Or did, Bellator give you a nice signing bonus that has kept you and the family pretty comfortable the last few months?
No, man. I competed very frequently for Bellator. So, I fought MSG, then I had a fast turnaround in Connecticut, and then they gave me even a faster turnaround for Japan, and then also with a pay boost. So, I was really happy with that. And even in this pandemic, I've been, been very secure because of Bellator and because they gave me the opportunity so fast and so frequently. I was only signed with them, I guess, a half a year before the new year and everything kind of went down.
In the post-fight for your bout at Ryzen, the New Year's show you've mentioned, you said it was the best experience you've ever had. And I would assume as a fighter. Talk to me about that. Give me all those nitty-gritty details, the important nuances of what made that such a unique, such an awesome experience.
Yeah, man, it was awesome to go down to Japan, Tokyo. It's the fighting mecca, man. It's crazy to experience those fans. They're very respectful of the fighters, win or lose. Every press conference almost felt like it was or the rules meeting, the weigh-ins. It all felt like each one was an event in itself. You know what I mean? Because there was always a lot of media, a lot of the fan club. They follow Ryzen and the Bellator event around for the weekend. I mean, it was very done up well there, and fighting's huge. It reminds me of soccer or football, in this. It's a very respected sport, and to go there and fight in front of that many people, and then just prior to me signing with Bellator, I was just a regular guy. Granted, I was very good, King of the Cage champion, but man, I worked at a school and worked part-time, and just to go out there and see how much they respect me and how big my name was to the Japanese people. That was crazy. And then also to kind of give back and be my normal self, man. You know, I went up and hung out in the stands for like hours after my fight just to like hang out with like the crowds and meet people and sign stuff and introduce myself, and just it was a good experience, man. It was really it was one of a kind of, you know.
Did the fans really stand out, especially when you went kind of in there, meeting with them, hanging out with them? Because that audience is hugely different. Not even just Japan, just the Asian fan audience is hugely different from the boo birds, the woo birds that we get here in the U.S. with some of the nonsense. Sure, was it's like, man, I can do this a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. I felt like that, and I felt, you know, it was good just to be, you know, no insults. You don't hear no stuff from the crowd, man. You know, they're very quiet, which was also a different dynamic. It was just cool to fight underneath a different dynamic, underneath a different rule set. I'm actually glad that I didn't go there and represent Bellator and just fight on the Bellator show. I'm glad that I got to do the cross-platform and fight in the Rising Ring and experience, you know, the different rule set, the nervousness to that, just, you know, the whole different experience in itself, you know. I'm the type of guy to take chances like that, and if you're going to send one guy, you know, I felt like I was one of the guys, you know, that would represent the promotion well.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned before talking about growing your name, stuff like that, getting more people to recognize you. How big of a year was 2019 for you? You weren't necessarily a name that was on everyone's radar at beginning of the year, but by the end, you know, you had competed 4 times, get some key wins, got to compete on this major year-end card in Japan, like we talked about. Was last year a big shift change moment for you? Is the social bigger? Are you being asked to sell products, or is it not quite there, and 2020 was going to be like the life-changing year?
I feel like 2020 is going to be my life-changing year. You know, I really I bloom late, I guess, with you know, to the normal eye, to the media, so to say. But I've just continued to do what I've done every year. You know, last year was similar to many years prior in my whole career. You know, I've always been finishing fights. I've always been putting people away. I've always been selling out the crowds and the shows that were locally to me. And I've always been doing, you know, what I did last year. I just got an opportunity to do it on a bigger stage for more people to see it, and to do it against better competition. Or not to say I didn't fight, because I fought guys that are in the UFC, but I got to do it against better competition in front of the world's eyes, you know?
Yeah.
So it was better for me to grow. But this year's my coming out year. You know, I think I'm going to get those names that are, you know, the prestige names, the highest class names at 135. And I think I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing, and that's putting them away and finishing them.
And that's a perfect transition into where I was going, getting those bigger names and stuff like that, because there's a very strong possibility you could be in a bantamweight title fight once Bellator gets rolling again. Horiguchi's injured. Caldwell's pretty busy with featherweight Grand Prix. So, you know, you have an extensive amateur career, but you are just entering your 4th year as a professional. Did you think you would reach legitimate contender status this quickly in a major promotion, or are you a bit ahead of schedule for what you expected by this point, you know, if you got that vacant title fight?
No, not at all, man. Like if I win my next fight, let's say I fight for the vacant title, I win that, I'm 14-0 with 12 finishes, man. I mean, Caldwell won it faster than that, you know. Look at Alima, look at the guy that beat Musasi, Lovato. You know, a lot of these guys have, man, I had 11 amateur fights that were the highest amateur fights. I had to travel all around to, you know, get those fights because MMA wasn't really legal in New York and all this stuff. So I fought the hardest amateurs. They could be, you know, pro-level fights too. And then I went 13-0 as a pro right now with 10 finishes. And I got a bunch of fights that were 30-24 fights. I got 2 of them in there. You know, I should have finished almost every fight I've ever been in. Granted, I give Tobias Taylor, my pro debut, a lot of respect. But besides that, man, you know, I'm right where I belong and I deserve to be, you know. And it's because my track record, the guys I've beaten, and how I've beaten them, you know, how I've put them away.
Because of the men I mentioned are out of the equation, a likely opponent for you is probably Juan Archuleta. Juan is a hell of a fighter, with a lot of experience, can fight at multiple weight classes. So him going back and forth in weight is not a new thing. Started in Bellator, and in his last fight, he went toe to toe with the best fighter in Bellator history, in Patricio Pitbull. Just
Yeah,
looking
two
at
fights ago, he fought Corrales last.
Oh,
And then
that's
he
true.
fought,
That's true. You're
yeah.
correct. Just looking at him from afar, what makes him beatable in your mind?
I don't know, man. I see holes in his game. I think he's good. I've trained with Juan, man. I've trained with him myself. I've seen his game. I watch his game. I'm a fan. But it's just, I'm younger. I'm hungry, just as hungry, if not hungrier, man. I got a family to feed. I got a daughter that's here with me. So, it's I guess it's our wills, and I think that my style is the style to beat him, man. Like I said, I've seen his fights and he's done well, but I'm the guy to go in there and go ahead and finish him. I'm the guy to go in there and put him away. I'm the guy to continue my streak, and that'd be a big name for me to show the world. I think he's 24-2. I don't know how many rounds he's really ever lost, but it'd be a something of amazing to go out there and put him away and prove to not just the diehard fans, just the media itself that I'm the top guy at 35, and I've been for a while. They just haven't seen it.
I didn't know that you had trained with him. How long ago did you train with him? And was he a guy that his skill set really stood out? Like, wow, this guy's really as good as advertised? Or did you even then, you're like, I'm better than him. I know I can beat him. I'm not impressed by this guy.
Nah, in training, it's like we're competitive, but I'm just trying to, I don't look at it like that nature in training, I guess. When we're training, it's different than a fight. So when I was training with him, I was trying to take as much as I could. I think he was 17-1, and I was only 4-0 at the time.
Okay.
So since then, I finished every guy I fought, and that was 3-4 years ago. And I hung with him then, you know what I mean? And more than hung with him then. We don't talk training stories, but, I was able to do fine then. And I guarantee if we fight now, I'm strangling him. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it. I'm tapping him out. If we fight, I'm tapping him out. And if it's for the belt, I'm coming home with a world title, and I'm coming home with that neck. That's 100%, accurate in my brain.
Now, let's say, perfect scenario, you get the title fight, you win the belt. Sooner or later, Horiguchi will be healthy. Maybe Caldwell wants to come back to 35 after the Grand Prix is over. They've been the two elite guys in the division the last few years. Do you have a preference between the two as like the ultimate final boss to test you as the best 135er in the world?
No, I mean, I think they both got game. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I just went all the way out to Tokyo. I finished Yuki in 90 seconds, and I walked right to Horiguchi right after that, ringside. Didn't even walk back yet, and told him I want to fight him, If I had to choose between Caldwell and Horiguchi, it'd have to be Horiguchi because he beat him twice, and he finished him. I want the top dog, not the second best dog, you know what I mean? I want the top guy. So he was a renowned champion, and he vacated the belt. So let's say I go ahead, and when I do win the belt, because I will, I would be more than willing to fight Horiguchi. I would love to test myself, and I'd love to get that name on my record too, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm the bigger man in that fight as well, so all those names, man, the biggest names there are, that's what I'm hunting.
Talk to me about the nickname of Patchi. I love that name, and it feels like it's a name that you probably had since you were a kid. What's the origin of the name Patchi?
So basically, like, I don't really – my nickname isn't really Patchi, so a lot of people say it. My name is just Patrick, and my parents, my grandfather, have been driving me around my whole life to wrestling tournaments and stuff. He called me Patchi. So my name resonated through my family as not Patrick. They just called me Patchi my whole life. So now when I get introduced, it's like Patchi mix. But, they throw no love in the middle because I've always been like, I've had game face every time I fought. I never show no love till after the fight, some stuff like that. But since I've been in the show, man, everyone's been calling me backpack, and all this other stuff, So who knows, man? I might win this belt or take these guys out, keep doing it impressively, and get into the back. I might change it, who knows? But Patchi's just from my family, man.